a guy who campaigned on a promise of no new wars, it sure seems like you know who shifted his view to global domination. Yesterday, he announced he's taking control of the oil and the oil money in Venezuela. And just this morning, U.S. troops seized 2 ships in the North Atlantic. One was flying a Russian flag. The White House also said that sending military to Greenland is always an option, which prompted several European countries to release a joint statement reminding him that Greenland belongs to its people, so hands off. So why this sudden 180-degree turn in global policies? I ask you all, what is happening?
Can't we make a deal and just send him to Greenland? He wants to go, let him go. Bye.
I feel like I'm way too pregnant to process, like, the coming conquering of Greenland, like, when I saw this in the news. But I would remind folks in a serious matter, the U.S. has a military presence there. We have an Air Force presence and Space Force presence. We have, I think, over 100 troops stationed there, because it's a NATO ally via Denmark. And anything we need from a strategic standpoint in the Arctic, we already have that access, because that's why you have friends and allies.
Yes.
But what stood out to me is this. I've said it a million times. I'll reiterate it. I'm glad Nicolas Maduro is out of power. He is a dictator. He was horrible to the people of Venezuela. But here's what, but he'll stand justice, hopefully. What I have an issue with is putting his number 2 in charge, who is equally corrupt, who I could argue could also be indicted on the very same charges he has been in power, seems to be a continuation of the same suffering that the Venezuelan people have seen. But what's really standing out to me is this, and we're going to have Marjorie Taylor Greene, who I think will be able to speak to this, is who voted for this? Just candidly, who in America was like, the number 1 thing, priority to me, is that we control Venezuela's oil? No one. And there's this fascinating survey that came out that said that of these young men who came out and helped propel Trump to victory, 22% said that Trump is not fighting for them, or only 22% said Trump is fighting for them. 27% say that Trump hasn't delivered for people like them. The economy is what people care about. If you're commuting into the city and you're worrying about bills, you're worrying about your heating expenses this winter, you're like, why are we talking about Greenland and Venezuela? Why aren't we talking about the cost of living here? And his White House seems to have time to do, January 6th revision history online, but they can't get a coherent message about what are we doing for the economy, and also what is the actual plan in Venezuela? Are we just controlling it?
But he also said he's going to control the money. Didn't he bankrupt 2 casinos?
Yes,
well,
he did.
yeah.
Well, why do we think that he can control the money?
Well, my problem with the entire thing is that it's illegal. You just don't get to go into another country and kidnap its leader and then bring its president to this country and have him tried in a U.S. court that has no jurisdiction. It is illegal. It is against international, criminal law. And I understand that Maduro was a dictator and did horrible things to his country and his people. But 2 things can be true at the same time. You can be a terrible dictator that should be dethroned and not have a country dethrone him that has no legal right to do so. So I am very, very troubled by that in and of itself. And as for Greenland, the United States tried to buy Greenland in 1946, offered Denmark $100 million in gold. That's a lot of money in 1946. And you know what Denmark said? Greenland is not for sale. So how do you buy something that is not for sale? Marco Rubio is saying, we're going to buy Greenland. Well, it's not for sale, Marco Rubio.
I'll make you an offer you can't refuse.
Exactly. It's giving very mafia. It's giving bullying in its simplest terms. And in complex terms, it's giving American imperialism. Why are we imperialists all of a sudden?
It does come back to who voted for this, because when you look at the people that put him in power and voted him through, many of them were America first, to the point that they couldn't see the need to defend Ukraine. They didn't understand why the U.S. was involved with Israel. They don't understand the chess game of the geopolitics. So I don't think his base is here for this at all, specifically those left behind young men and boys that thought he was going to bring jobs and all the other things to him. But if we all agree at this table that the way this was done was not legal, we've said that 1,000 times. Donald Trump has often considered the law a minor inconvenience.
Yes.
We also know that. So if you're looking at all the things he does, similarly to his attack on Iran, I don't mind this one as much because it's Maduro, because it's the oil that right now supplies places like Hezbollah. Like, this is a game that's a few steps
Yeah, but
behind.
what about the fact that
illegality of it?
I just said I
No.
do care about the illegality.
not that.
You mentioned two things can be true at once.
But you don't mind it as much.
I'm saying out of everything he does,
But the thing is, the Russians are now a piece of this. That's what
I
scares
also
me.
don't
Let
think
me
the oil
just say
tanker is
this.
illegal. I
Here's
think
my
they're right.
question. Where is everybody? Where is everybody else? We come to everybody's aid.
Yeah.
We help everybody.
Yeah.
NATO, they came and helped us after 9/11. Where is everybody? Because
They're worrying about Greenland right now. Because beyond, I'm
but
not on board for Greenland.
Where is the government? Do you realize we don't have a government?
Oh, you
because
mean
we don't
Congress
have
has given all their power away.
Yeah.
Yes,
They do nothing.
and this is a huge and should be our biggest bitch right now.
It is.
That should be. Because all of this is happening because there is no one doing checks and balances.
There's no system.
Where
Check and
is the government? Why aren't they doing their job? And let me tell you, I feel like, you know, he hinted yesterday, he says he was joking, but he hinted yesterday that maybe there won't be midterms.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, yeah.
Now, you know, we're in it already, okay? We're not heading into it. We're in the dung right now, okay? We're in it. So we really need to be paying attention to who we've given power to. And if the people we've given power to, whoever you vote for, if the person you've given power to doesn't give a damn about you, get them out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let 'em out.
Anyway, the point of Congress is so important here because Congress does have the power to authorize the use of military force. And I keep using this example, but I think it's important because we can learn from the past. Every single strike, basically, during the 20-year-long global war on terrorism was authorized by one 2002 authorization of military force from Congress. They kept going back to something that was 10 years old, 20 years old. They didn't take up new votes. Why? Because members of Congress didn't want to have the uncomfortable position of saying yay or nay on whether they supported a particular military strike. So as far as I see it, take the vote, put your name on the record, say what you're for.
Stand up
we
for
pay your
something.
salary, like stand up
They
for something.
grow a pair.
But history will remember how incompetent Congress has been in this moment as much as it will anything else
Honestly,
going
I think
on.
history is also going to remember that the Supreme Court gave Donald Trump full immunity for anything that he does while he's president, and they unleashed this.
But did
The
you
Supreme
see
Court
yesterday
unleashed
that
this.
he said to Republicans, hey, listen, you got to make sure I get reelected?
Yes.
And
Or I'll
that you
be
all
impeached.
get all
They're too busy worrying
you'll
whether
get
they're going to get reelected.
that they get reelected,
correct.
or he's going to get impeached.
Well, then he
That's
must know.
what's on. Well, he knows what he's doing is wrong.
Right.
Effective,
That's
but
the point.
He
It's-
ran
you
for the
know.
presidency to avoid Jack Smith's two
Yes.
indictments and to avoid jail time for the 34 counts of fraud he was convicted of here in New York.
But it's an important reminder that I do think if the House flips to Dems, which I expect it will, they likely will bring up some kind of impeachment articles. I do not think there's any chance it passes the Senate. You need a supermajority to convict in the Senate. He wasn't convicted after January 6th.
I think
He didn't
just
pass the
look
vote.
on prices in the economy.
Correct.
For once, they can do
Literally
something
just
for
deliver for
people.
the people.
I think people are really pissed.
Yeah.
I think people are really angry now, and it doesn't matter really what side of the aisle you're on. You're feeling
all
the
left
pain.
behind.
Yeah, you know.
I think
the pain
everybody
is
would
for
be
everybody.
happy, though, if he would just move to Caracas or something. I mean it. Just go move out of the country.
Yeah.